Today, the world is facing one of the most severe food crises in decades. Millions of people are unable to secure even the most basic nutrition. Food security has become a top priority for many nations. Climate change, natural disasters, and rapid population growth are placing enormous pressure on agriculture worldwide. Against this backdrop, genetically modified food has emerged as a potential solution. However, its development is not without controversy, from concerns about health and the environment to debates about seed ownership and corporate control. In this episode, we will explore the role of genetically modified foods in addressing the global food crisis, the potential benefits of this technology, and the heated debates surrounding its use. We will also take a look at how some of the world's wealthiest individuals, especially Bill Gates and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, are investing heavily in GMO research as part of their strategy to fight hunger and adapt to climate change in poor countries. The COVID-19 pandemic only made the global food system more fragile. According to the United Nations, the world is now experiencing the worst food crisis in the past 50 years. Governments everywhere have been forced to take urgent action. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned that this crisis directly affects the poor, making even basic nutrition unaffordable. Without immediate intervention, the global food emergency could have devastating long-term consequences for hundreds of millions of people. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization has emphasized that climate change poses a major challenge to ending hunger. The UN Development Program also notes that climate change threatens essential conditions of life itself: clean air, safe water, adequate food and stable shelter, rising global temperatures, prolonged droughts, destructive floods, abnormal rainy seasons, and more frequent natural disasters are undermining farming and livestock production, causing serious losses to agricultural ecosystems. Among these threats, drought is one of the biggest causes of crop failure in developing countries, according to The Guardian. Droughts around the world have already pushed tens of millions of people to the brink of starvation, signaling that the global crisis is worsening. In East and Southern Africa alone, more than 90 million people face extreme hunger after record droughts wiped out crops and killed livestock on a massive scale. In Somalia, 1 in 4 people is on the edge of famine, and at least 1 million have already been displaced. Research from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change shows that without adaptation, yields of staple crops such as wheat, rice, and maize could decline by 10 to 25% by 2050 in Africa, East Asia, and Southeast Asia, according to the Financial Times article How to Solve World Hunger. The World Food Program has warned that without breakthroughs in agricultural research, the world will face a catastrophe by 2050. Today, about 700 million people already suffer from hunger, and this figure could rise to 1.5 billion by mid-century. This urgent reality is driving a new green revolution, one that leverages biotechnology, genetics, and artificial intelligence to expand food production. Science shows that ending hunger is possible thanks to groundbreaking research happening worldwide. But it will not be easy. Any solution requires public acceptance, and technologies such as genetically modified crops, gene editing, or lab-grown food remain highly controversial. So, what exactly are genetically modified organisms, or GMOs? According to the World Health Organization, they are plants, animals, or microorganisms whose genetic material has been altered in ways that do not occur naturally. GMO seeds are created in laboratories by scientists, not through traditional breeding. Using recombinant DNA technology, genes are transferred from one species to another, creating new organisms with traits that conventional methods cannot achieve. The purpose of GMO development is to increase crop resistance to pests, viruses, and herbicides, and to help plants adapt to poor soils and extreme weather. GMO seeds can also shorten growth cycles, allow multiple harvests per year, increase productivity, and reduce costs. Some GM crops are engineered to improve nutrition by adding vitamins, minerals, or enhancing food quality, yet public opinion remains divided. In 2015, 88% of U.S. scientists said GM food is safe, while only 37% of the public agreed. By 2020, that number had dropped to just 27%. This gap highlights how controversial GMOs remain. Farmers also fear that GM crops may harm the environment. Increased herbicide use often accompanies GMO farming, and over time, superweeds resistant to herbicides have appeared. Critics argue that GM agriculture encourages monocultures, dependence on chemicals, and moves us away from regenerative farming practices that are essential to restoring soil health, protecting biodiversity, and reducing greenhouse gases. Health concerns are also part of the debate. Some studies suggest GM foods may cause allergic reactions, contribute to antibiotic resistance in bacteria, or pose risk to human digestion and long-term health. So why do billionaires invest in GMOs? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the world's largest private charity, has invested heavily in agricultural research, including GMO technology. Its mission is to improve food security and fight hunger, especially in Africa, while helping farmers adapt to climate change. Since 2006, the foundation has spent more than $5 billion on agricultural programs in Africa. One flagship project is Drought-Tolerant Maize for Africa, which aims to develop corn varieties that can withstand drought, one of the leading causes of crop failure in the region. The goal is to increase yields by up to 30% and support 40 million farmers across 13 African countries. Most of these programs focus on smallholder farmers, families who rely entirely on agriculture to survive and who are extremely vulnerable to climate shocks. By providing GMO crops that tolerate drought, saline soils, and harsh conditions, the Gates Foundation hopes to secure food supplies and improve livelihoods. Bill Gates himself has said that GMO technology is one of the most important tools to help farmers adapt to drought. Without innovation, poor countries risk falling deeper into crisis, with consequences for both food security and social stability. Supporters argue that access to advanced seeds and modern farming methods can raise productivity, increase farmer incomes, and improve nutrition and education for millions of families, but critics warn of the risks. Concentrated land ownership, seed patents controlled by corporations like Bayer and Monsanto, and rising input costs can trap farmers in cycles of dependency and debt. GMO agriculture often requires bundled purchases of patented seeds, herbicides, and fertilizers, benefiting large companies, while leaving farmers with shrinking margins. Environmental concerns also persist. Many GMO crops are engineered to resist herbicides, leading to heavier chemical use. From 1974 to 2016, glyphosate use increased 15-fold worldwide, degrading soils, polluting water, and harming biodiversity. Once GMOs spread into the environment, they are nearly impossible to recall. Cross-pollination can create superweeds or disrupt ecosystems. Studies have even warned that pollen from GMO corn may harm monarch butterflies. Long-term use can encourage superpests and resistant diseases, locking farmers into an endless cycle of stronger chemicals and engineered seeds. According to the World Health Organization, GM foods currently on the market are generally safe. However, WHO also emphasizes the need for caution, particularly when it comes to allergenic genes, antibiotic resistance, and the potential transfer of GMO traits to traditional crops or wild species. Newer techniques such as gene stacking allow multiple traits to be combined into a single crop, potentially reducing pesticide use and lowering costs. But strict biosafety management remains essential to prevent unintended consequences. Looking ahead, the next generation of GMOs is not only about resisting pests or climate stress, but also about nutrition and consumer benefits. Examples already in use include drought-tolerant maize in Africa, heart-healthy canola oil, soybeans rich in omega-3 south as a fish oil substitute, and potatoes and apples engineered not to brown, reducing food waste. Third-generation GMOs may even transform plants into biofactories that produce medicines. Tobacco and corn have been engineered to generate antibodies against Ebola and experimental vaccines. While promising, this raises serious ethical and regulatory concerns. Golden rice is one of the most notable examples. Engineered to produce vitamin A, it has the potential to reduce blindness and mortality among children suffering from malnutrition. Despite controversy, golden rice was approved for commercial use in the Philippines in 2022, raising hopes for a sustainable solution to vitamin deficiency. So, what do you think about genetically modified food? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and share to support us. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future episodes. Thank you for listening. This is NuvoriaCast.